And next we have another online, All Hail the Queen, written by Tara Snover. It has 177 pages, $5.99. It is available on Kindle Unlimited, and here's the author's description. Hell. This was absolute hell. Every day was held at 2244, an NPC with a massive multiplayer online role-playing game known as AO. Just another prisoner of the game like all NPCs. She never expected her wish for freedom to be granted in such a grandiose way. A big event in the game leads to her suddenly becoming a mother, a hellspawn, and a queen, all within a matter of moments. Now tasked with maintaining a balance between keeping the game masters happy and trying to take down all of AO, 2244 discovers that there's much more to this game than just slavery and item upgrades. Okay, this is honestly not worth the almost $6 price tag. For 177 pages, but it is a pretty decent KU read, actually rather good. The story is about an NPC that expands beyond her system-defined role as an item shopkeeper into a villain. The AI in this story are actually copied minds of actors and paid people, and the AI are tortured by the system if they don't roleplay or fulfill their roles. But with a new expansion in the MMO, the main character gets a change in designation and becomes a free-roaming villain that has to create an army while not pissing off the GMs by going out of her new role and deciding if she's going to break the game or try to take it over. It's a satirical take on the awakened AI concept. On the game mechanic side of things, this is definitely a GameLit story, not a literature story. But again, it's not advertising as a literature story, so it's not getting a negative review for that. It's essentially all the MMO stuff is told from this NPC's perspective. So you get to see a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that normal players in the world wouldn't necessarily see, including like all the torture stuff. And it's not like super graphic torture. It's more along the lines of like the NPCs are sent stimulations that are torturous, like feeling like they're drowning or feeling like they're being pricked with needles or burned on their fingertips or whatever the case is. And so it's not like super graphic torture, but it's simulated for them. And that's how the the system keeps them in line. Personally, I wasn't a big fan of that aspect. It didn't quite make sense in my brain about why an AI or why the game system would essentially need to do that with AIs that it actually controls as part of itself. But it sets up the tone and sets up the stakes for the NPCs, so I get why it exists. It just kind of conflicted my brain a little bit. The game exciting things, nothing's really new. It's an MMO. It's a virtual reality MMO. And so if you've read any of these kind of stories before in Literature, it's kind of the same thing. It's just told from a slightly different perspective. There are no crunchy details here, which is again why it's not really Literature. But there are game mechanics in the story that the main character uses and exploits, and bugs and different perspectives of items and using them intelligently to advance herself. She does get levels in the game, but they're not earned levels. She essentially is advanced to like level 100 with all the prerequisite powers and abilities and things she wants to choose. So there really is no RPG progression for her in that respect, which is again why it's not RPG and instead is GameLit. But there are game mechanics in the story that are followed, including using items. The main character has to collect an army and figure out how to make them powerful enough to oppose the players. And again, she uses some very nice, interesting, and well thought out exploits and bugs to gain what she wants. I think in the novel, and the author description says she was a game designer. So it kind of shows through in the writing of it. Overall, it's a good KU read. Again, not really worth the purchase price to me. It's just a little expensive for the page count. But the NPC to game villain story was fresh enough that it was entertaining. Even if the story was a little bit on the shorter side for our genre. For me, good score of 7.4 out of 10. Had a good time with it. For another online, All Hail the Queen with a score of 7.4 out of 10.